Hola y bienvenido. This is the vodcast for the usage of the subjunctive for Spanish 3 and Pre-AP, Unidad Cuatro. I'm going to start with verb terminology. A big part of the subjunctive is understanding the function of a verb in the sentence. So first we have to talk about tenses, or when the action takes place. So when we talk about present, past, future, those are all verb tenses. Okay? In contrast, a verb mood refers to how I feel about the action, how your speaker is going to feel. Okay? There are 4 types of verb moods: indicative, infinitive, imperative, and subjunctive. Indicative is your tense, is your present, preterite, imperfective, future. Infinitive is your unconjugated form of the verb. Imperative are your commands, and subjunctive is your present and your imperfect subjunctive. Okay? These should be kind of review. Hopefully you've covered some of this in English. All right? So when you talk about your sentence structure, there are 4 main types of clauses in sentences. Okay? Sentences are made up of clauses. We've got main, dependent, relative, and noun clauses. All right? Main clauses have a subject and a verb. They're a complete thought. They can do their own thing. They do not need anything else to stand on their own to be a sentence. Okay? Dependent clauses have a subject and a verb, and they're an incomplete thought. They can't stand alone. Relative clauses begin with a relative pronoun or a verb. They can't stand alone. A lot of times they're going to start in English with who, whose, which, that, when, where, and why. A lot of times you're going to find in Spanish it's pretty much that. The other ones can be used as well, though. And noun clauses also, which are going to start with that usually in Spanish, and function as a noun. You don't want to know the ingredients put in the soup. So instead of saying the ingredients, which is your noun or your direct object, you replace that with you don't know that she puts rats in the soup. Okay, that's the difference between a noun and a noun clause. And again, this hopefully is reviewed from your English classes. So first I just wanted to kind of go back through the things that we've learned about the subjunctive already. Okay? So remember our acronym WEIRDO. So the W is wishes, wants, desires. These are all those phrases that are going to start quiero que, espero que, and after these phrases, as long as I have a change in subject, I'm going to use the subjunctive. The E are emotions. Es triste que, es alegre que. It's sad that, it's happy that, it's, I'm angry that. It is, I'm angry that this happened. All right? I is impersonal expressions. Es necesario que, es peligroso que, and there are tons of these impersonal expressions, okay? So there are some great websites you can look at if you're looking for a list of more when you're trying to use them. Try www.studyspanish.com. They have lists of these impersonal expressions and along with some other additional explanation if you need more help. R is going to be recommendations, and those are basically recommend. Okay, I recommend that you try this restaurant. He recommended that we see this movie. Okay? And doubt, which we're going to use dudo que from the verb dudar, and no estoy cierto que. And doubt can be a little bit tricky. All right, we'll come back to that in a second. And O, which is ojalá, ojalá que. I hope. It comes from Allah, so it's it's kind of, think of it as it's more than espero que. It's like I really, really hope. I hope to God. Please let this really happen. That's kind of the feeling. It's I really, really hope. Okay. So be careful. Coming back to that doubt. Make sure that your expressions really express doubt. So if I say dudo que mis amigos vengan sin una llamada, I doubt that my friends will leave without a phone call. We're going to use the subjunctive there because in your main clause it says I doubt. Okay? And I doubt key going to be subjunctive. Now, if I flip that around and I say I don't doubt it, that means I'm certain. Okay? So there is no doubt, and therefore there is no subjunctive. All right? So you would say no duro que mis amigos vienen sin una llamada. So even though there's a change in subject, there's no doubt. I am certain that they are going to call before they come over. So no subjunctive. Okay? So these are some phrases. Creo que, es cierto que, es verdad que, es seguro que. These all express certainty. So if you see these phrases, Even though they have the K in them, do not say, oh, it's subjunctive. If it's a phrase that's certain, you do not use the subjunctive. Now, on the flip side, if I turn these around and I start saying, no creo que, no es cierto que, no es verdad que, no, it's not certain that, no, I don't believe that, no, I'm not sure that goes back to being doubt again. All right? So if they're in the affirmative, if they're saying, yes, I doubt it, or yes, yes, I believe it, creo que, yes, it's certain that, es cierto que, then you do not use subjunctive. If they're negative, if we start saying no creo que, that leaves doubt, so we use the subjunctive. Here's some other rules. Maybe this is going to help clear some things up, some of the confusion, because I know when we did some of the review, there was a little bit of confusion. The two clauses in the sentence have to have should have different subjects. So as well as meeting our weirdo criteria, our wishes, our emotions, and personal expressions, recommendations, doubt, and ojalá, they also have to have different subjects. So for example, mi madre quiere que yo corra a la tienda. My mom wants that I run to the store. So my mom is the subject in the first clause, I in the second clause, so I need the subjunctive. Because also you're saying she wants that I go to the store. That doesn't mean I'm going to go, okay? So there's your little bit of doubt. Now when I say quiero correr a la tienda, I want to run to the store, I am the only subject, so I use the infinitive for the second verb, okay? I don't need a that, I don't need anything else in there. There's no doubt, there's no second subject. It's just me. I'm the only one who's doing the action. So why is the subjunctive so confusing? The subjunctive in Spanish is confusing because in English we don't use it a lot, okay? In Spanish we use it all the time. So it's not something we're necessarily accustomed to. It's also confusing because in English we leave out the words that in Spanish are included, okay? So in English I'm going to say, I want you to buy the book, okay? I say, I want to buy, don't have to conjugate the second verb, easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? In Spanish, I'm going to say, I want that you buy the book. All right? That has to be included in the sentence. So I'm saying, quiero que compres el libro. I want that you buy the book. Again, I want it to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen, so there's your doubt. And I am the subject in the first clause, and you are the subject in the second clause. So that meets all of our criteria for the subjunctive. Okay? So I think that's where some of the confusion lies, is how we leave out the that in English. So keep that in mind when you're trying to write things. If I can say, I want that you buy the book, you're going to need to use the subjunctive, okay? Okay. So the big thing to remember when choosing the subjunctive or the indicative is the feeling of certainty. If we are certain, we use the indicative. John fue a la tienda. John went to the store. I know he did it. He went to the store, okay? If there's a feeling of uncertainty and we have that change in subject, we're going to go with the subjunctive. Espero que John vaya a escuela. I hope that John goes to school. I'm not sure he's going to go to school, but I hope he will. And we also have that change of subject because it's I hope, and then we have John goes. Okay, so we have doubt and the change of subject. Okay. Now notice when we say the sentence in English, we just say I hope John goes to school. We're not going to say that. Okay. We have to put the that in Spanish for the grammatical construction to work right. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. And it's just part of what makes it tricky.